Now there are 10 points that, like I mentioned, that I'll cover so that you can set your resume right. The first couple of points would be sort of generic, but then um, there are a few important points to help you understand how you can match your experience to product roles. So the first point that I want to mention is skip mentioning your address on your resume. If any of you have a resume which says where you live, B 10 by 2 block C, whatever, just delete that section. Nobody really utilizes that section. You have to think of your resume as a product, right? And so you have to look at each line that or each section that you have on your resume and ask yourself that why is this section there? Is it really, either it's helping you talk about something that you have done, or highlighting some skill that you have, or it's helping the customer whoever is reading your resume, whether it's an HR person or a manager or a product head, etc. Right? Address doesn't really showcase any of your skills or work experience. Address doesn't really help the other person in his or her life. Everything is online, right? So skip mentioning your address on your resume. Second, you can skip even the objective section, which says my objective is to work in a challenging environment where my um, past experience helps me grow, mature, and add value to company, etc. None of that. If you want, you can add one to maximum two lines highlighting your some of your core experiences, which also resonates with what a product manager is supposed to do, or uh, that highlights any major impact that you have created in your previous jobs, right? Third is, and this is where the narrative building starts, that avoid keeping achievements separate from your job roles. Many a time when I get resumes, there is a section which mentions manager at so and so, deputy manager at so and so, senior manager at so and then there's another section which highlights achievements. So then what, as a customer of that resume, right, as a person who's reading that resume, when these sections are separated, what you have achieved in a job and where all you have worked, I first read through where all you have worked, then I go to the next section, then I have to keep mapping what you're saying about your achievement to which role you're referring to, right? Which takes a lot of unnecessary time, right? And if you don't, it's just that people don't have that much time or that much interest. Like they'll just move on to the next resume. So don't keep those separated. You mention a company, your job designation, and 3 to 4 bullet points of what you have done, right? About bullet points, sum up your responsibilities in points always. Like never use any paragraph to mention a 3 4 line paragraph to mention your achievements or job responsibilities, etc. Every bullet point should be should be 1 to maximum 2 lines, right? And always mention achievement in each point, which is preferably a number. So I did this and X percentage rise or X percentage saving, etc. Also, structure each of your bullet point under your each company previous job as in an XYZ format. That is, achieved X via growth or improvement in Y by doing Z. So you mention your achievement first, then you highlight a number preferably that achieved X via growth or improvement in this metric by doing Z. So what you're doing should come last. Your achievement should come first because that's your sort of headline, right? So for example, if Mayur has worked at a call center and he launched some new application which increased the efficiency of employees tremendously, so achieved 10x improvement in TAT by doing so and so, right? or created an onboarding journey that improved activation by 2x using marketing automation stack, something like that, but in an XYZ format. Achievement by improvement in this metric by doing this. Also, clearly mention the job start and end dates, so that, I mean, many a times people try to, for example, someone's worked 7 months, 8 months, 10 months, has switched a few jobs quickly, and they'll try to not mention the dates, shy away, etc. My opinion is you should put your job start and end dates clearly out there, so that the person has a clear view that, okay, this person has worked for 7 months in this domain, 1 year in this domain, 3 years here, right? So that's one. Next, mention your PM certification to add credibility if you do not have a core product experience in the past, especially. And so, for example, you have done this course, which is a fairly long, well detailed, well-rounded course, and you have gone through the various nuts and bolts of looking at a product, user experience, so and so, and you'll also get coached on how do you answer product interview questions, etc. So you can mention this as an added credibility when you are applying to PM jobs. Then try keeping your resume to one page. This reflects two things. One, it just is easier on the eye. So someone who's looking at 30 resumes, 50 resumes a day, is just easier for the person to glance through. And two, a core skill of product manager is prioritization, right? So if you have about, let's say, 3 years work experience and you have a 3-pager resume, then what it tells me is that you are not naturally good at prioritization, right? So keeping your resume to one page while ensuring you have highlighted each of the major points from across your previous jobs or whatever, like your life so far, is a reflection of your prioritization and candidature. Ninth, avoid adding a second page only because some of the last sections, so for example, education is usually mentioned at last, whatever, or whichever is your last section, is spilling over, right? You have to go back to your prioritization stage and figure out how do you uh, ensure that all of it fits, because if you're adding a second page, you should have substance that justifies adding a second page, not just because one or two lines spilled over, right? And always, again, this is something a lot of people miss out on. I don't know about any of you, but many of the resumes I get, always share PDF version with recruiters and or wherever you're applying or you're sending your resumes to. It's just that one, PDF makes your resume look nicer, and second is just, I mean, when I open up a Word, and if I'm, especially if I'm work on a mobile device or even on a laptop, it's still, I mean, editable. I'll delete something by mistake, etc. Because I'm doing multiple things. The resume is just one small part of my entire day. So I may not be that careful, and something might get deleted, etc., etc. So always share PDF version of your resume. So I'll just take you through the 10 points again, and then I'll open it up and you can ask me questions, etc., from either from your resume or any clarification perspective. One, skip mentioning your address on your resume. Two, skip objective section or restrict yourself to 1 to 2 lines max, highlighting some of your key experiences or impact in the past jobs. Three, avoid keeping achievements separate from your job roles. Readers will have to put in extra work in mapping them. Four, sum up your responsibilities in bullet points and always mention achievement in each point. Five, structure each bullet point as XYZ, that is, achieved X via growth in Y metric by doing Z. Six, clearly mention job start and end dates. Seven, mention your PM certification to add credibility. Eight, try to keep your resume one page. Ninth, avoid adding a second page only because some small section or 1 or 2 lines are spilling over. And finally, always share your PDF version with recruiters and hiring managers.